see him every day. His face will look familiar, but in a most unusual way. He's a no man, no more. I said he's no man, no more. You know he's no man, no more. He looks a lot like you. Every party that Norman goes to, you've been there before. He's got some funny things. He might have said that he forgets until they close the door.
Today we will look at Army Men Sarge's Heroes on Nintendo 64, which may be one of the worst games I ever played. What makes it so bad? Let's find out.
It's a huge shit sandwich and we're all gonna have to take a bite.
Sergeant Hawk wakes up to find himself in the middle of a tense attack on the Green Army's base. He then rescues the colonel of the Green Army, General Grimm, and then he sets out to find the rest of the Bravo team. While on a helicopter, Sergeant Grimm spots a blue tank in a nearby town. Sarge then follows the blue spy through a portal to the real world. Then, General Plastro sends footage of Green soldiers being tortured by a death ray, which is just a magnifying glass. Hawk must find the rest of the Green Army's Bravo team. Riff, Vicky, the daughter of General Grimm, Thick, Hoover, Shrap, and Scorch.
Not a whole lot to say on the story, except for sometimes they go for the comedic factor, which just isn't funny.
They think it's a big joke.
The gist of the gameplay is it's basically a third-person shooter where you run to wherever you're supposed to go and kill everything in sight.
There's the enemy, kill him.
There is a wide variety of weapons, including machine guns, sniper rifles, flamethrowers, and a bunch of stuff to kill plastic people with. And believe me, this game is not easy, so strategy works well here.
The feeling of actually playing Army Men Sarge's Heroes is a total nightmare. You are given several objectives to complete while rescuing each member of the company. That's not so much the problem. The main problem with this game is its awful control. Immediately as you start the game, you'll realize how poorly constructed the controls are. If you want to navigate the world, you can only move in two directions, backwards and forwards, kind of like a tank. This makes turning and jumping more complicated than it needs to be. Half the time you'll die trying to make a jump or getting yourself organized to shoot something. But the problem that makes the game one of the worst is that when you die, you are forced to start the whole mission over again. Sometimes the missions can become very time consuming because of the large amount of enemies to fight or your brain dead AI. The computer shows no competence to fight back or seek cover. This is even more annoying when you have to escape because if they die, you fail the mission and start over.
They'd rather be alive than free, I guess. Poor dumb bastards.
In conclusion, playing Army Men Sarge's Heroes is an extremely aggravating experience that does not follow up on the classic Army Men on PC and Game Boy.
Believe it or not, the music for this game is surprisingly good. Sure, it's not too high quality, but the songs themselves are rather good. Sounds that the gun makes are weird when you fire them. Like, listen to the shotgun.
Good to go. Go.
Told you. But that's kind of nitpicking, so I'll let it slide.
Music is basically non-existent in Army Men. If you listen carefully, you can hear some form of music being heard, but other than that, there is nothing memorable. Sometimes, there isn't even any music at all. The only song that I liked was the title theme at the beginning, which was actually pretty good. There's not a whole lot to say in the ways of voice clips. The Tan Forces sound absolutely annoying. While Sarge doesn't say a whole lot. Nothing really as memorable as Army Men 2 voice clips.
Good to go.
This game would be really good if it had better controls. The style of the movement is just awkward and hard to control, which is obviously not a good thing. When I think of control, I think of actually controlling my character. What a surprise. The game is really fun to play though its difficulty is pretty high. I find myself playing it every now and then. The game is kind of short though, which disappointed me. Despite the bad reviews, I don't think the game is all that bad.
It bothers me to think that every category to rate Army Men has failed miserably. To sum it all up, Army Men Sarge's Heroes is a bad game. It is plagued by awful controls, unforgiving gameplay, brain-dead AI, sloppy visuals, and it's just not fun to play.
He's a well-respected man. He's had his problems, but he's left them well behind. The only thing he can handle, all the hang-ups on his mind. He's no man no more. I said he's no man no more. You know he's no man no more. He looks a lot like you. He looks a lot like Jimmy, looks a lot like Billy, looks a lot like Frankie, looks a lot like...
Sir, does this mean that Aunt Margaret's not coming?